Hi, welcome to the final update for a while, I guess. So what's going on? Just a few things real quick. Um, so officially, for now, Backlog Buddies is over. The reason behind that is because I got a job in China, and because of that, I will not be I won't be in the U.S. anymore, which means I won't be able to play games with Tony or anyone else or anything like that. That's just unfortunate how things rolled out. Uh, Second thing is I have been working on game highlighters. I have a few scripts I've been writing. I've been having issues getting some people to comment, some people to help, some stuff like that. Just general game industry fear. And if you follow the Unseen 64 guy on Twitter, who has me blocked now, which is funny. You follow him on Twitter, you see him complaining about it all the time. It is really hard to get devs to talk about video games in general. Even if, like I said, I'm not doing what he's doing of trying to expose old games that are under NDAs. I'm just trying to get questions about game development, answers, bugs, stuff like that, and people don't want to comment on it. That's just how it is, unfortunately. Uh, Another thing is that I am working on a new format for game highlighters. That's taken a bit to iron out, uh, just because I wasn't satisfied with how it was and how disorganized it was and stuff like that. Another thing is, since I'm moving to China, I will be starting a personal vlog on another channel, um, just about just about yeah, sure. Just about life in China, stuff like that. And since I will be super close to countries like Mongolia, Japan, Korea, stuff like that. I've been looking up plane ticket prices for when I have vacation. Uh, it's pretty cheap. So I can do stuff like what's it like in these countries and stuff like that compared to, let me pick that up, compared to the U.S., stuff like that, compare different areas of China as I explore all sorts of things. So that should be fun. Uh, Another thing is I am also working on a post mortem content. That's gonna be included under just the game highlighter brand, just for just for reasons. Um, just simple, so that way I don't have to make another channel. All this stuff like that, um, and a few other things. But just right now, things are just busy due to, like I said, due to me leaving the country, moving and all that, which happens here soon. Um, and switch, and yeah, sure. And so that's what's going on. Me and Tony, we're still friends. I'm about to see him later today, actually. We're going to go do stuff tomorrow as well, and we're trying to meet up and all of that. Just unfortunately, backlog buddies isn't really a priority. There's still actually a lot of backlog buddies that I never uploaded. I won't be able, because that's because of my internet, which is why I'm trying to keep this short. I won't be able to upload uh, either, and even after I move, because I'm gonna have to leave my desktop and all this, and have to get that shipped once I'm stable in the country. So this channel is gonna be dormant for longer, unfortunately. Um, Trying to think if that's everything. Yeah, so that's that. Working on the postmortems and stuff like that. Oh yeah, it's another thing. And the postmortems. That's I kind of wanted to elaborate on that. It's not gonna be like what happened or stuff like that, where they only talk about games that failed or consoles that failed. Like, there's so many videos on like the Xbox One is a failure and blah 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 and all this, but is it really a failure? Like, I want to look into that and see, if by Microsoft standards it's a failure. Sure, it didn't sell as well as the PS4, but yada yada yada. And that's also another thing. I won't be doing videos on active consoles until we have information on them. Like, I wouldn't be doing an Xbox One, honestly, till a good way into after the Scarlet and PS5 come out and stuff like that. Uh, yeah, and like I said, I want it to be, honestly, as factual as one can make it. Um, that is weird controls. I want it to be as honest as one can make it, because right now anything is basically speculation, because we don't have official numbers, and everything essentially boils down to fan theory. Like, you'll see, oh, the Xbox One is a complete failure, blah blah blah, because some stupid thing when it's like the PSP. Everyone says the PSP was a failure. It honestly wasn't. If you look how it sold, it didn't do bad. Sony was happy enough with it to do the Vita. If it was a failure, it would have been like the Pocket Station, which lasted, I think, 5 months on the market. Like, the Pocket Station didn't last long. Or the Tiger Gamecom, or consoles like that. And yes, that's also another thing. I do want to do every console, off-brand ones that honestly no one really thought would ever work, successful ones, stuff like that. It's very interesting looking at just histories of game consoles and all that, and just seeing how, honestly, so many people tried to compete for a good while. I mean, because, we had the Ouya not too long ago. You have all this terrible, absolutely terrible Razer Android consoles, stuff like that, and no one talks about them. So, like I said, I want to look into those. I want to review them, see what's wrong with them, all this, yada yada yada. And like I said, go over stuff that's often forgot about or neglected by many people, because they're just like, oh, here's why the Vita failed. It sucked. And that's the entirety of the argument, when they don't look at business decisions. They don't look at just a lot of things that went wrong with the console. Um, which is what inspired us, because I've been having to use my Vita a lot lately. Jesus Christ, has that thing been making me angry the more and more I use it. It's kind of funny. Um, and not only that, I am trying to get developers to talk to me, as well, for their side of the story. And that's another thing. This one I'm trying. If you guys want to help me spread it and help me talk to Curt Schilling, which I know you're like, oh my God, no one's mentioned him in forever. No, so I want to talk to him, because the whole 38 Studios thing, honestly, the more I research it and the more I look into it, that, I mean, he signed the paperwork, so that's his fault in that regard. But really, the Rhode Island government did so many things to screw him over, to screw his company over, to do all sorts of crap, and no one will talk about it. Everyone's just like, oh, Curt Schilling, he could throw a baseball, and then he ran a game studio and it tanked because they spent they spent $90 million or some shit. No, I think they tried to claim it was like 200 million to make uh, uh, Reckoning. Kingdoms of Amalur. Kingdoms of Amalur. There we go. Because they tried, because they claim, because the loan from the government was for 120 or 200 million or something like that. I don't have the numbers on me. And they claimed that Kingdoms of Amalur needed to sell something like 20 million copies or something to make a profit. When, if you look, 38 Studios bought Kingdoms of Amalur after THQ sold it to them on like super cheap, and they honestly pumped something like $1 to $2 million into it and finished it. And Kingdoms of Amalur was actually a profit, but because the I what? Oh, okay. because um, because the governor didn't wouldn't shut up, and all this stuff that you couldn't honestly help him. Like there was just nothing you could do. He um like I said, he gave that terrible advice, not advice, that terrible just everything. He was just like, oh yeah, they needed to sell this much and all of this, which was wrong because the actual money was going into the MMO they had been making that entire time, and like that was where the real money went, was the MMO. So after he came out and said all that stuff about how the game needed to sell 20 million, honestly, 38, 88 studios, whatever, 38 studios, lost all investors. Like every investor they were talking to just bailed because they were like, "Oh, your game underperformed. It did terribly. With that wasn't even the game they got the loan for, and it was actually a huge profit, and EA was super satisfied with it, but they weren't satisfied enough to help him fund his MMO that Rhode Island forced him to like quadruple or quintuple the workforce to make in the span of a year, which is ridiculous because you're just going to have too many chefs in the kitchen at that point. So yeah, please, if you can, try to help me get in contact with him. I really would like to talk to him or others that worked for him and all this, because to this day people make fun of him. People say all this shit, and it's just like he honestly got fucked by someone who was trying to look good for voters, and that's it. He was just trying to make it look like, oh, we didn't do a massive fuck up, and then even though they hired so many people from Rhode Island and all of this and did everything to meet the end of the contract, I don't know, he fucking dicked them hard. And so, like I said, and that's the type of stuff I want to go over. I want to find the things that people claim, like the Argonaut, Super Mario 64 theft story, which I honestly, that'll be like a 5-minute video, but still, that's another one I want to go over. I know I have no chance of talking to anyone at Nintendo over that, or Argonaut for that matter, but it's one I want to go over. And there's plenty others. So it's kind of up in the air, and that's something I want to do, is honestly get a side that game journalists refuse to get, because even to this day you'll see people make fun of Curt Schilling, or you'll see people make fun of Dennis Dyack, or all these people, as you're like, yeah, but if you actually look into the story, look into what happened, are they really wrong? What the fuck? Are they really wrong? Which the Dennis Dyack one, that one's going to come with a lot of caveats of people who refuse to go on record, and people who just were too afraid to talk. Because holy shit, uh, when 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 I was talking to people about that, you could just see fear in some of their eyes when I even just brought it up, which was interesting. So yeah, so that's what's going on with the channel. Those are the those that guy's face. Those are the new content I want to work on. That's what's going on with Backlog Buddies. I'm moving. I'll be doing the vlog, blah blah blah, all that. Nothing will be uploaded again, at least probably for 2-3 months, because I'm going to be adjusting to a new culture, new society, new blah 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 blah. So there's gonna be all that, and I gotta figure out getting my VPNs to work, all that fun stuff. But and get my computer. But once I get everything, I hope to be back and forth in all this, because I know, like, right now, honestly, right now, I'm actually upset we're done with Backlog Buddies, because I spent a lot of money before this whole situation happened, to try and improve everything, down to recordings, down to getting consoles to work, down to all sorts of shit. And honestly, it's all gone. Like, it's all for naught. I'm having to leave stuff behind. Like, I'm leaving music instruments, which breaks my heart. And just all sorts of stuff. So, not gonna really be a fun little while for a bit, but we'll power through. I'll have Chinese food to help me. I don't know. I'll find something to do. And if you're in China and you want to hang out or anything, sure. All sorts of stuff like that. But yeah, that's what's going on with the channel. Sorry, I actually rambled. I kind of went in unscripted, and all this. There we go. Sorry. I do want to get the remaining Backlog Buddies uploaded, edited, all that. I'm actually trying to replace my CPU and my hard drive to an SSD so I can do everything faster. Because really, right now, it takes so long to edit these videos now that I figured out how to actually edit and post-process and all that. Like, it went from 10 minutes to edit and cut a video to 3 hours, and then, I have to render, which now, instead of taking 10 minutes, which was I used to just do, was just cut it, render it, call it a day. Now that I do all sorts of stuff to fix lighting, resolution, all sorts of stuff, the rendering itself can sometimes take an hour or two, depending on all the stuff I have to do. So, that's another thing. Gotta get all that to work. But thank you. Sorry, haven't been uploading. Sorry, haven't been doing anything. Just like I said, life's been fucking me. Getting things sorted out finally. Y'all have a good day. I'm gonna break Johnny Get out of jail now.